And welcome back to the starting lineup. I'm Arnav Sarkar here with Matthew Mangam, and we're gonna continue our conversation about baseball. We're gonna shift over to the other New York team, the Yankees, and then we're gonna be wrapping up this week with some soccer talk with the U.S. facing off against Canada, huge match against Mexico a few days ago. So a lot of big soccer news um, if you're a U.S. soccer fan. So we're gonna start with baseball and then shift over to that later. But it's not been too great for the Yankees either. We just talked about the Mets and how they're under 500. They've really been struggling lately. But I mean, as of late, like the Yankees haven't been doing too much better. I mean, you might even argue that they've been doing worse lately. Two of three losses to the Red Sox, followed by, splitting with the Mets and in that two-game stretch in the Subway Series, and another big loss last night, or the night before, 15-5, and they have a doubleheader today in Boston with the Red Sox. So I mean, can you tell us a little bit more about what's been going on with the Yankees and how they can maybe regroup and get out of this funk?
Yeah, thanks for having me on Arnav. And honestly, at first I was like, okay, this run has been pretty poor. Like we I'll say we had a good run against the Mariners. We beat the Mariners in the series, then we beat the Dodgers in the series, and also San Diego too. So that was back in the end of May. So I was like, okay, they're getting better. That's when the Yankees were on up, I would say. And then Judge got hurt. And that's when it went downhill because without judging the lineup, the Yankees just statistically just score less runs. They win fewer games, and that's literally the judge effect. So after that, the White Sox, they lost the series. Then with Boston, they lost the series, and then at home, and then the Mets, they took one of two, and then now at Boston, they're looking like they lose this series too. I mean, there's still two games left, so I'm not gonna count them out, but after Friday's game, that was just not convincing at all. But yeah, I think that's literally the main reason is built out Judge, and I can't say that be also just because Judge, because also there's pitching involved too, like 15-5. That's not just the hitter's fault. But in that game, the loss to Boston on a Friday, there was just so many errors in the outfield, like just throwing the ball to first, throwing the ball to second, bad throws, mistakes that were like causing Boston to get silly runs or get like runners in scoring positions, and it was just like it seemed like everything that could went wrong in that game. So but overall, I would say the injuries still. Um, you have Judge out. Harrison Bader's also out. He should be coming back soon. That's another big hitter for the Yankees. And then two pitchers, Nestor Cortez, he's hurt. He should be back in July. And then our big pitcher that we got in the off season, Carlos Rodon, he should be coming back very soon too. He's been throwing like pitches and like practicing like for pregame, so he should be back very soon too. So I would say the biggest problem has definitely been the injuries and then also the hitting because it has not been that good, honestly. Every game, well, not most games, they've scored less than 5 runs, I'd say. So most of the time when they're needed, they just haven't gotten what they need to do.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, that's kind of a lot of things that just, haven't been going right, both hitting and pitching. Obviously, Aaron Judge still hasn't completely recovered from stubbing his toe against the Dodgers outfield wall when he was trying to make a catch. So, obviously having him back would help. Having Rodon, Bader, them coming back, that would also really help as well. So if they can get, other players back in the lineup, I think that would really be like a huge boost to this team. They're down one game already to Boston the series. Like you said, you don't want to like count them out. But I mean, it's an uphill battle. They're gonna have to win like both games in the doubleheader to win in this series at least. They're still at least above 500. I think they're 39 and 30 as of when we're recording this. So as opposed to the Mets, they're still like, above 500. They're still, I mean, in the playoff race. So I mean, I don't think it's like something that they can't turn around. But I think injuries is really like the main reason why this has been going on, like you said. So I mean, hopefully they once the injuries, once all the players come back healthy, then things will be a little bit different.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I don't like to be the type of person that's like, oh, it's just because we have injured players, that's why we're bad. Like, honestly, the Yankees are like their expectations are pretty high. So I would say that even with some players injured, they should be doing better, and I do agree with that. But like there is proof that literally without Judge, like this team is just worse. And honestly, that's not really a good thing. We shouldn't be relying on Judge, definitely because he is an injury prone player and we can't just rely on all our games with him to like, step up and win. But that's just kind of how it is. And I would say like overall maybe like um that's kind of goes on to like the owners like with Brian Cashman making more moves for like better players in the offseason because when we lose big players like Bader and Judge and like Stanton, like honestly, some of the players who we call up just aren't that good. I mean, Billy McKinney's been good and Jake Bowers has been good, but then like I'm just not a fan of Willie Calhoun. Just that's just going off topic. But yeah, I mean, like there's still has a lot of time, obviously, and there is the All-Star break coming up in like July. So I would say like a little like expectation is that if they're still above 500 by the All-Star break, that's like a good sign because looking ahead, they have some series against the Mariners again, who, they're getting better now, and then the Rangers have just been really good. And by the way, we lost them 15-2 early in the season. That was another terrible game. And then we versus the A's on the road. That should be another easy series win. Like I said, though,
Mhm.
nothing's guaranteed. And then the Cardinals again, that should be you can say 2 out of 3 there. And then the Orioles at home, the Orioles have been really, really good. I don't see us winning that series. And then the Cubs at home. So that's another series I think we can win. But that's besides the point. Yeah, like I said, I think just as long as they're above 500 by the All-Star break, that would be a good sign for us, like with the wild card race and just our overall position in the AL East.
Yeah, no, I think that'd be good. A few easier series and some harder ones. Yeah, I mean, like you said, yeah, and also Nestor Cortez, he's out right now. It's been nice to have Stanton back. He's been doing pretty good lately, also. So a few of the good things to go with like I guess the bad, but I mean, yeah, I do think this team's gonna definitely benefit from being healthy, and we'll have to see. I mean, they're still definitely in the wild card race, but they're behind the Orioles and definitely like quite a bit behind the Rays this year. They might not be able to catch them for the division, so we'll have to see. I mean with the All-Star break coming up, hopefully the team can get healthy. It's always fun when they have those series, around July 4th and stuff like that, and then taking that All-Star break. The teams will have to regroup and then from there on it's time for the playoff push till September. So I mean, definitely see. I don't think anything's, out of the question. It's a long season, but certainly a bit of a rough stretch lately. So we'll see if they can bounce back. I think they will be able to at some point.
Yeah, and I hope so too. And I just want to like one stat I saw that like one like fact that I saw that like amazed me was that I think I've heard it before. I think one of you guys said it before too, but like in the past, but it was there's not been a game where Aaron Judge, Harrison Bader, and Giancarlo Stanton were all in the lineup together. That just shows like how
Um,
in and out these players are off the IL and like it's just at bat and like that's just crazy. Like those are like three of I would say not like our best well Judge obviously, but like obviously like Torres and Rizzo, but like those are three of our best players, and they just haven't ever been in the game together, like this season at least. That is crazy, and I hope that could change once they all come back. Well, once Judge and Harrison Bader comes back, but that actually blew me away. I didn't even realize that when I saw that.
yeah, that's pretty incredible. It's just they have just haven't been in the lineup together. It sounds like kind of like what we're talking about with the Nets. I'm like, I think there's like a stat where Katie, Kyrie, and Harden only played like 17 games together, and that was one of the major reasons why they only made it to the second round, and they couldn't even get out of that series. It's only one second round appearance because health is it's tough. Like you can put the best players on the team, but if they're not healthy and they don't have chemistry, there's a lot of things, then they're not going to be able to go very far. But seems like something similar has been happening with the Yankees this season. Um, hopefully that changes too, because obviously when you put all these star players on the same team, you're going to want them to all be able to play together so your team can do better and win. But yeah, no, that's a very interesting fact. And yeah, like I said, I mean, hopefully they do better. Hopefully, health, their health, they're all available because, availability. What's the saying? Like availability is the best. Something like that. I can't think of it right now, but
I actually don't know what that's saying. Available. I don't know what I don't know what that is actually.
yeah, it's like. availability is the best ability or something like that. But it might have been that. But yeah, I mean, you get what I'm trying to say though. Obviously if you're there, you're
Yeah.
playing. That's the best you can do for the team. I think it is availability is the best ability or something
Oh,
along
it's
those
your
lines.
best ability is
Uh,
availability, and if you're not on
there,
the field, they can't use it. And you don't play or something like that.
yeah,
I
the
think
the
that's around
first
it.
part,
Yeah,
your best ability is the availability. But yeah,
that's
that's
true.
that rings true. But speaking of availabilities, the U.S. is actually going to be without two of their star players for tonight's matchup against Canada in the CONCACAF Nations League final. They're going to be missing Serginho Dest and Weston McKennie after they were both ejected with red cards in that very feisty match. I mean, both teams had two red
What a
cards each,
game! Oh my
and the US
gosh.
won 3-0, and it was absolutely, there was like fireworks, and I mean not literally, but like on the field there was all these, it was very chaotic. I mean, they had to blow the match early because fans were like chanting things, and it was just a lot of scuffles, and the two teams are such big rivals, but it was really thrilling. I mean, I'm really glad the US was able to win. They've been really dominant against Mexico lately, and Christian Pulisic had two goals. Ricardo Pepi had another goal, and they just put pressure on the Mexican side all game long, and they were able to come out on top 3-0. And they face Canada tonight. It's going to be a bit harder, especially without two of their star players. But that match was a really good one, and you know, I'm excited to see what how they follow that up tonight.
Yeah. After being a U.S. soccer fan for the past since the 2014 World Cup was when I got into soccer. This team, like there were so many ups and downs. Like they did all right in 2014 World Cup. That's besides the point with that roster. And then a lot of those players, got older, retired, moved on, and we had a newer roster. And in 2018, we did not make the World Cup, which that was like the lowest of the low. It's like
Yeah.
we lost, but we had to beat Trinidad and Tobago to win. And I don't even know what rank they're on the FIFA rankings, but they are not high at all. And we lost the game 2-1. Oh my gosh,
Hmm.
that was like it was just so depressing as a fan. And that team was just not it. And then, like I said, that was kind of like the same team with the 2014 World Cup, and then like that era of players, and then a lot of them retired and moved on, and now we have a newer generation coming up. We made the 22 World Cup in Qatar, obviously. We lost to the Netherlands 3-1 in the knockout rounds. It's okay. Like I didn't expect us to go that far. We're still a young team with Greg Berhalter, and then after like before that though, I had a feeling this team was, this new generation was like promising because this match, Mexico versus USA in the Nations League, also happened in 2021 on June 6th. And that game we won 3-2 in extra time. But like this team, this young US national team, they have like just a great relationship with each other. They're very optimistic, and that game you could see the passion with them. And even in Sunday's game or whatever, like you could see how just passionate they were. Not Sunday, sorry. You could see how passionate they were with every single like challenge they were setting up for one another. Like all the fights. Obviously they shouldn't fight, but like they were very
Yeah.
optimistic about the game and all their little silly celebrations they did. Um, but yeah, this U.S. Mexico rivalry's been a thing for the long time, and Mexico was always like dominating in the past because U.S. just
Hmm.
weren't good. And
Right.
I think finally now this U.S. team is actually it could definitely they're putting up a flag against Mexico, and they're like splitting like kind of showing them now. I think we kind of own them now, but
Yeah, it's like that.
yeah, you could see there was four red cards. You could just see that this is a real rivalry between both teams. Even in the stands with the fans, like
Yeah,
the Mexican fans throwing stuff on the
I
field, and then
know.
like the like,
Yeah,
that's just not good. But
that's
like you
that's
could
too
just see,
far. Yeah.
yeah, you could just see how like just how much these teams hate each other. And then McKinney getting his shirt ripped off, and
I
he's like, and
know.
he keeps
Yeah.
and he was gonna keep he wanted to keep it as like a memorabilia.
Yeah, and then
But
he's
yeah,
like kissing
besides
the
the fact of
crest.
like fighting
Yeah.
and yeah, yeah, exactly. See, like the love they have for this team, exactly. Besides the fact of fighting and stuff, that was a really dominant performance, and I have a lot of faith in this U.S. squad, and it's not just because I mean like because of the new team, but Fullerin Balogun, like the new striker we have, he was at first England nationality, but now he committed to the U.S. For nationality. He flipped
Hmm.
his nationality to the U.S. national team. That was a big help because we got a good striker. Um, And obviously,
Yeah.
we all know Christian Pulisic, and then other youngsters like Giovanni Reina, Des, Musa, Weston McKennie.
Hmm.
Like, there's a lot of optimism here, and Joe Scally. Like, there's a lot of optimism here for this U.S. team, and I think for the next World Cup, that's a little bit off topic, but for the next World Cup going ahead, like my expectations are definitely higher than in Qatar.
Yeah, no, I think so too. And the next World Cup in 2026 is when the US will be hosting it alongside Canada and Mexico. So big North American World Cup games are going to be all over the US. Even here in New Jersey, all the way across the country, in Canada, Mexico, all over the place. But I'm looking forward to that one too. I can't wait to see what the US does for that one. I mean, the way the team's going, like they could definitely like at the very least, they'll probably make the round of 16. They can maybe even make some noise in future rounds after that if they continue to be on the on the upswing. But I guess before we shift over to the matchup against Canada, um based on what I've been hearing, like a lot of US like fans aren't really too fond of Berhalter because of the relationship with Gio Reyna. Also, there that opened up an incident in his past that got resolved about the domestic beast case, and also people just don't really like his managerial tactics. But I'm not really a huge expert on all of this. But I mean, I was just wondering like what you think about him. It seems like the players are kind of on board, but overall like people don't seem to be too excited about that.
So it's an interesting topic because honestly, I think in Qatar, right? The U.S. did make it out of the group stage. They tied to Wales, they beat Iran, then they made it out. And how about England too? Sorry, I think that overall
Yeah,
was a
that
good
was a really
performance,
good.
but they just barely. I'm gonna be honest, they just barely made it out. Which I mean,
Yeah,
yes, they still did it. Nas, that's good, but I do think like this team is good, and I'm not really sure if he's the right way to go. And honestly, I don't really like know who else. Like, I saw a crazy rumor that like this old soccer player Thierry Henry would want to coach the U.S. national team, which would be kind of funny to see. But anyway, like he's very interesting tactics. Like for example, like yeah, Giovanni Reina, that was a former NYCFC player, so I'm like a really big fan of him. And I was like in the World Cup, I'm like, where is he? Why
yeah,
he's
he
in the
he just
squad, but
wasn't
why is he not
playing.
coming off the why is he not starting? Why is he coming off the bench? And then after the World Cup, Reina posted on Instagram like how like there was like a like Berhalter thought he wasn't like fit enough or wasn't like trying enough and like working hard enough and like that was like honestly crazy. Like I don't know why he's keeping it silent for so long, and like it just baffles me like what was going on with that. I mean, like we could have used Rania, and like you see now, without Berhalter, like this team against. I'm not gonna say like because without Berhalter we were winning because we did win in the World Cup a little bit too, but like that performance against Mexico was just a great performance, and Reina was in the squad in that one, and then also another player who did not go to the World Cup that also I think is pretty good is Ricardo Pepi, another striker we have.
Mm,
Um, he didn't go to the World Cup either, and that's another player that I don't think Berhalter really favorites. I mean, like he wasn't picked. He's a 20-year-old striker from Augsburg in the Bundesliga, so he has European experience. Like he's not just an MLS player,
right.
and like he just wasn't. He was also another player that was dumped out of the squad, and I think we could have used him. I mean, like besides all of our other star players, but yeah, it's interesting. I think with Berhalter, he has experience with this team. Obviously, he's been with this team for a little bit now, and the thing is, World Cup, the next World Cup, since the US are hosting it, they automatically qualify.
Right.
So I really can't watch them play a lot of like qualifying matches because I like to see how the teams like going into the tournament. You want to see how the team plays. So I think for this World Cup, he has to just prepare his team differently, like especially with getting Reina involved in Pepe and then Belugi,
Yeah.
three players that like are really important. And then for this World Cup, I'm gonna have higher expectations for him as well, the US team. I think they should be getting to the quarterfinals because they're hosting this tournament. It's in their country. They automatically
Mm,
qualify.
right.
They have like a ton of advantages. The fans are on their side. They'll have a
Yeah.
better team. A more This team will be more experienced because this was like the last World Cup was like their first real tournament together. They're still kind of, all getting like into the zone together. So they're all, and also this is like one of the youngest U.S. national teams ever. Like I think the average age is like under 26. So this side is still getting gelled together, and I think by 2026 that should be like they should be like together and ready for that tournament. That's why my expectations are higher for the U.S. and Berhalter. So overall, I wouldn't say I'm like pleased, but I'm not disappointed because this is a guy that knows the team and he has experience with the players. And like you said, the players do like him. I mean, it's the coach, so they're gonna have to follow him what he says. But
Right.
I know he wants what's best for the team, and he didn't do a terrible job in Qatar, so I'm not too like harsh on him. So I'm not really that upset.
All right, yeah, I mean, yeah, that makes sense. I mean, there's a few things that fans didn't like, but at the same time, like I think they performed to expectations. I don't think anyone had them really, winning the World Cup or even going that much further. But I mean, they were able to get out of a tough group with England in it, Wales and Iran. So I mean, I think they pretty much performed to expectations. I think the next step would obviously be to, make a run into the quarterfinals. Or hopefully at least the quarterfinals, possibly deeper. Especially since the World Cup's going to be home in the U.S. But that's kind of like a long way away. But I guess we're already kind of laying the foundation for that. But much more pressing for U.S. soccer tonight, they do have a match against Canada, and we talked about the 3-0 victory against Mexico. I mean, hopefully they can continue to play up to their standard. And Canada's also fresh off their own victory in the semifinal against Panama, 2-0 themselves. So, what do you expect from this match against Canada? Obviously, the U.S. is going to be without Destin McKinney, but do you think the U.S. is still gonna win this match? And what are some things to preview and take away from this game?
This match is going to be very, very interesting. I like to say that the U.S. like the Canada should be an easier opponent than Mexico, but I'm not sure, especially since the last time U.S. versus Canada on World Cup qualifiers back in January 2022, they lost 2-0, and then they also tied 1-1 in the qualifiers too. So I think this Canada team has definitely improved a lot, and they're going to be without, Destin McKinney. So our right back, one of our midfielders. We do have Tyler Adams we could slide in there, but I'm looking at the last time he played Canada, and the team is pretty much kind of is pretty similar, but they do have good players. Canada, I'll say some more quick like Kyle Lauren, he's good. Jonathan David, the young striker from France, he's Canadian because of the French league. And then I think the biggest one that most people would know is Alfonso Davies. He's
Yeah,
a left back for Bayern Munich. Um, and then yeah, I mean it's gonna be and Tajon Buchanan. He's a another good striker. He was in the MLS, now he plays in the Belgian league, but they have good attacking players. I think definitely their attack is very, very good. I mean Kyle Lauren, Tajon Buchanan, like I said, and then I don't this match can be very interesting. I'm actually looking forward to it a lot because like they're missing two players and this is a big game on the line. It's a final,
mm,
but I think even without Dest and McKennie, I think US can get the job done. So I think it's gonna be another close match. Not as dirty as the one last time. Not one against Mexico. Definitely not as dirty because it's not that big of a rivalry like that.
right.
But I think it's gonna be a close game. I don't really want to give like a score prediction like bet or anything, but I think the US can win this game basically.
Yeah, I mean, I think they can too. Not sure what the scoreline will be, but I mean, I don't know. I'm just gonna throw out like 2-1, but I don't know. I think like Pulisic, with him in the lineup, like great things can happen. We saw him score 2 goals, so maybe he could possibly get one more. Timothy Weah, you set him up real nice for that second goal. So a lot of good things from the U.S. Matt Turner's been very solid in the net. I mean. So I think the US is still like the better team, but Canada I think has also like closed the gap on them quite a bit. They have like Alfonso Davies. They also made the World Cup, and I don't believe they made the knockout stage, but they didn't play like too poorly, and they've come like a long way from where they were. So it should be a good final. I mean I think the US are the favorites. I mean Canada, if they were to win, it would be an upset, but it wouldn't be like all that shocking. I think it's gonna be a competitive match for sure.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, honestly, I'm if Canada do win, I don't think that the fans would take kindly to Berhalter. I think not
Yeah.
Berhalter, sorry. The team, well, it's not Berhalter isn't in charge yet,
Well,
but I'm
yeah,
saying
no.
yeah, I'm saying I think the fans would not be very happy. I think that with Berhalter coming in after this, it would be kind of leave a sour taste in the mouths of the fans. But I think that the U.S. can win, and like you said in the World Cup, yeah, Canada didn't make it out of the group stage, but I think they also had a tougher group stage in the U.S. I'll give them credit for that. But yeah, I mean, like we said, this is gonna be an interesting game. I'm looking forward to tonight. And then, this is a good start because next summer is the Copa America, which is, you know, US, Canada, Mexico, Argentina, Brazil, Chile, also a lot of South American
Wow.
teams, which that's honestly a way tougher competition in the Nations League.
Yeah.
Like in that competition, you have Argentina, which is Messi, Brazil, Neymar,
Right.
like the better South American teams. And I'm looking forward to the Copa America because that is where I think being this is the US, like that's a big competition. They have to make a run in that. I don't think they're gonna win it. Like there's not gonna be Brazil or Argentina. They're just too good for them.
Yeah.
But that's going off topic. I think beating Canada today is a good start for it, preparing for the Copa America the next summer, and then after that, preparing for the World Cup. So as long as this US team just keeps, I would say impressing us and meeting our expectations or even going above, I think that's a good sign for the World Cup. And it's always overall a good sign for US soccer. I mean, like another thing is Messi joining MLS. That really helped MLS, like in soccer in the United States, get more like attention to itself
Hmm.
because I think we all know MLS isn't the biggest league, and yeah, like it's big, but like comparing it to the
No.
NBA and the
Yeah, it's
NFL,
not
it's
it's not
it's
that
it's
big though.
yeah, it's pretty disappointing because like as a soccer fan, I wish it was more, talked about more. And obviously, like it's not gonna happen because the United States
Yeah.
and there's other sports come first. But Messi coming
Yeah.
to the MLS,
I think that could
I
really
actually am happy
boost
because it
the
brings more
popularity
brings
for
more
sure though.
it just brings more attention to the league and like United States soccer itself. So I'm
Mm.
a fan of that, and it was just funny. I was looking at the tickets for Inter Miami's games, and like they just went
They went,
skyrocketed with Messi
yeah.
coming, and I think everyone saw that coming.
Yeah.
And like their followers just like tripled on Instagram or whatever, Twitter. Like that's crazy. That literally is the Messi effect of all these people coming over and like paying attention now. But yeah, I
Mm.
mean, like I said, I'm looking forward to the game tonight, and I'm interested to see how the team's gonna play. Obviously, I'm gonna be supporting them the whole time, and I think they can get the job done, but it won't be easy. Just like I didn't think Mexico would be that easy, but we kind of, took them down pretty simply. But don't knock out Canada yet. Like, don't count them out because, like I said, they beat us last time we first time the World Cup qualifiers back in last year. But we'll see. They have really good attack. So, but I think we can get the job done if we just defend well and hit them on the counter.
Yeah, yeah, I hope so. I think we could too. Like I said, I think we're still the better team, and I think we're just gonna have to prove that. But it's not gonna be too easy. I think the U.S. is can still get it done. Yeah, with Messi coming in, it's gonna be absolutely huge. Even in the U.S., like a lot of people pretend to watch like the European leagues because they're more high quality and stuff like that. But with Messi coming, this is gonna take the MLS game and soccer in the U.S. to another level. It's already come a long way. So many fans now, but it's still like way behind other sports. But I think with Messi coming in, a lot of people are gonna tune in just to see him, and that's gonna take the soccer in the U.S. to a whole new level as well. But yeah, I mean, I think we could beat Canada. I'm probably gonna watch it on the Spanish channel because like I don't have Paramount Plus, but that's actually I was kind of watching the Mexico game too, because like I don't know, I was just kind of bored. I was seeing it on Twitter, them talking about it, and then I couldn't really find it, and then I ended up just watching it there. But the commentary is more exciting. They tend to get really excited about everything and the goals, and I didn't really mind it at all. So a great atmosphere. So I'll see if that happens again. But I mean, yeah, I mean it's been fun. We'll definitely see how this match goes. But I mean, I think that's all we're gonna be talking about today on our show on the starting lineup. So thanks for coming in, Matt. Definitely enjoy the conversation. And yeah, I mean that's
Yeah,
that's
thank you
pretty,
for having me.
yeah, yeah, of course. Yeah, love to have you back on later in the summer, but for now, I think that's gonna do it here. You've been listening to the starting lineup. I'm Arnav Sarkar signing off for Matt Mangum, and we'll see you next week.